how do bats echolocate in groups? Like, a bat hunts using echolocation to locate mostly insects at night, but if you have ever seen bats, they are in groups of tens or maybe even thousands. So if one bat is trying to echolocate, then does it interfere with others? Well, firstly we will have to clear up a few things. Contrary to popular belief, bats aren't blind. They have somewhat of a regular vision compared to other animals, and maybe a greater ability to see in low light levels as well. So if bats have good low light vision, then why use echolocation? Well, even the best night vision is not enough to perceive the fine details they need when hunting their prey in the dark, which is usually flying insects. Like humans can't see in pitch black conditions, and bats are nocturnal, so they have to use echolocation as well. But not all bat species rely on echolocation. Bats which feed on ripe fruits and nectar usually use their normal vision instead of echolocation. Okay, so how does echolocation work? Echolocation works on a simple principle of echo of sound. So step 1, emit a sound. Step 2, the sound travels forward and returns back after hitting an object as an echo. Step 3, calculate the time it took for the sound to return, and profit. You now know the direction and distance of the object. Distance by the time, and direction by comparing the sound from left and right ears. Obviously, this becomes much more difficult when both the emitter and the object are moving at high speeds. But bats usually learn it through experience, and it kind of works without any conscious effort. Like bats use ultrasound and are supposed to have various phases of hunting calls as well. Like when searching for prey, they produce sounds at a low rate, like 10 to 20 clicks per second. But after they detect a potential prey, they increase the rate of pulses, ending with the rates as high as 200 clicks per second as they get closer and closer to it. Alright, so now that we have that cleared up, we can focus on our main question. So how do they hunt without being interfered by other bats? Now this discussion can go in two ways. First, we will talk about how do they differentiate their calls from others. And that is pretty easy. Like you can differentiate someone's voice in a crowd. Similarly, each bat has its own different kind of sound that it produces. And these guys can actually differentiate between them. So they can just focus on their own echo instead of being confused by other calls. If it's too similar in some way, well, they can just try to alter their own voice so that they can identify it better. And usually bats are not hunting in groups. Maybe one or two might come close to each other, but they hunt individually over a large area. The second side of this discussion is much more interesting and has to do with something known as echolocation jamming. So step 1, emit a sound. Step 2, the sound travels forward and returns back after hitting an object as an echo. Step 3, interference of that echo from either your side or from someone else. Step 4, miss target. So that is basically echolocation jamming. But some bats actually deliberately try to interfere with others in order to decrease the competition for food. And according to research, it is pretty hard for the bats to avoid. One of the interesting things I stumbled upon is that some of the flying insects which are being eaten by bats, moths in particular, have developed hearing to the bat's echolocation so that they can avoid it. One of the even more crazier things is that some of them have evolved a way to jam the bat's echolocation. Okay, bats were jamming other bats, but now moths are also doing it. Like as the bat is coming closer and closer to them, they just start blasting their own sound that reduces the effectiveness of the bat's clicks. And it would feel like a blur in the bat's vision. It won't be able to pinpoint the insect. Well, this was an interesting video to work and research upon. And I have linked down many sources that I've read. If you guys wanted to know more about this topic, you could go and follow those articles. So take care and thanks for watching.